Greetings, I hope this finds you well. Just wanted to do a little breakdown of my second crit or criterium race yesterday at Pacific Raceways in Kent, Washington. So again, I rode my bike to the race. The weather was a little better this time. I didn't get rained on at all during the ride there, which is really nice. It's about a 25-minute spin from my house to Pacific Raceway, so it was a good way to get warmed up for the race. So I got there, got signed in, put my bib on, did a warm-up lap. Because the course was dry, we ran the flat course today, which meant we went down and then came back on the drag strip. So I warmed up, kind of got a feel for the course. Also, I was testing out my shoes and pedals because I ditched the platforms and got some clip-in shoes and pedals. Highly recommend that if you're going to get into any type of bike racing, or if you're just putting in a lot of mileage or long adventure rides. It's just so much more efficient, and you're really able to get the power down. So that definitely made a big difference. So got warmed up. Rosa and Christiane were there because the weather was better, so I got a little footage and pictures from that. Appreciate them coming out and supporting me for these things. It's really nice to have loved ones there during these type of events. At least I really appreciate it. So started off with the Cat 4s and 5s and juniors. Started off kind of just middle of the pack, and then so we went down to the first turn, and as we were coming back onto the drag strip, that seemed to be one spot during kind of the course of the event where people like to kind of push a little bit coming out of there. So you definitely wanted to put in a solid effort for a few hundred yards there, or you could potentially be dropped, and then it kind of settled back into a pace line after that, and which is helpful because if you're able to, draft off of people, you're able to conserve energy and, get your breath back and your heart rate down a little bit. And then the other section of the course that it seemed like where people like to push is coming back around the backside, that back turn. It's a slight uphill. It seemed like people like to push the effort and pace there a little bit. So that's another section of the course where it was important to put in another hard effort so you're able to stay with the group. And that kind of pattern kept happening throughout the duration of the 35-minute race. I was able to stay with the so I think there was 3 riders that went off the front, and then there was a big group of rest of us that kind of stayed together for most of the race. And then so I was able to hang with that kind of second big group for the entirety of the race. And then probably the last, quarter mile or so, everybody started putting in a really hard effort to try to sprint to the finish to get the best position that they were able to. So I did the best that I could on the Specialized Diverge, which is a gravel bike. So it was a little, heavier. It's got heavier wheels. It's got disc brakes. So I think that did probably hold me back a little bit, but I, still gave as hard of an effort as I could to the finish, and I didn't get last, so that was a big improvement considering I got the first race I got dropped before the first lap was even over. So I felt much better about this effort. Like I said, I was able to stay with the group for the entirety of the race, which gave me a lot more confidence, and then also just makes me want to save up to get an actual road race bike because it's going to be lighter, it's going to be much more responsive, it will have more aggressive geometry, so we'll be able to get in kind of more aerodynamic positions. But anyways, it was super fun, exciting experience. I will definitely be going back and look to just keep improving my fitness. Definitely will start working on more high intensity efforts, getting in more interval training, because I I was tasting blood at the end of the event. Right after the finish, almost threw up the oatmeal I had a couple hours previous. So it's yeah, you just learn so much from pushing yourself, and it gives me definitely more confidence going forward. Love to hear how your training's going. What are you training for? What are you looking to in the future? Just in June, we probably will be taking a trip with the family down to Oregon for the Skull 120 kind of gravel adventure race. So that's something I need to start also putting in some specific training for, which would just be long days on the bike with some elevation. But anyway, oh, and then also on my next crit race, I will have the GoPro on. I had it there with me yesterday, but I didn't have the right mount to put it on my helmet. I'll definitely make sure I have that next time, because I think it'd be really cool to get some onboard footage to share with y'all. But I will attach some short clips and a picture from this race. Hope this finds you well. Let's remember to be kind to each other, to the planet, to the animals, and most importantly, ourselves. Peace. Much love.